They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So that you said that they put millions of my actions. Yes, you said. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just hustle sat in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the brutal show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slump. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. Devil's design fire for our babies to pass through in the day of our king's reign. I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
You ain't too, you crazy for this.
Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck peace, getting even. Won't beat with fear. Taking over, nigga. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to start a fire. Whole team full of riders. They be dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga, come on. Don't care where it is. They want the clout, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm repped out, tell them watch your mouth. For you know we gon' bend your block. I'ma walk in time bomb. I go viral. You niggas like TikTok, yeah. This ain't what you want. Tell them throw in the towel. We make niggas hit the clock in with our toe fire, rain brimstone. They gon' think that you live a lie. We ain't got no picks. We want it all. We gon' make you pick a spot. We knocking on the door, so let us in. Or you know we gon' pick the locks. We in the field for real every day. While y'all just say watch, we making enemies our foot stores. We don't know nothing about the op. It take one try when I rock out. I'm like David when I sling shots. I'm putting attachments on everything. Y'all want me to connect the dot. This drum got 50 unreleased hits. You don't want to be the next to drop. I put them in a box and make that shit double wood. You don't want to be the next to flop. Yeah. Niggas feeling themselves. Get a shovel, tell them to dig the plot. Can't fit you and your man's in it, just tell him get a bigger box. Cause I'll put you in one and knock you out one. Call him my nigga knock. I'll put your song on, cut it on you, and then tell you that shit was hot. Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck peace, getting even. Won't beef with fear. Take it over, nigga. Yeah. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to certify. Whole team full of riders. Every dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga. Come on. Don't care where it is. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. Big soldier, nigga. I come in the name of the boss. So my niggas that is wartime. Already weigh the cost. That point shoot bitch. Red Dead Redemption. Got them niggas scared to whisper. Is you with us or against us? Can't stop to the zone loud. I don't think get the picture. It come from my head, I'm giving them lead. The preacher give him a scripture. Flow cold style vicious. Niggas sweeter than the missus. Got soldiers posted. I put them on your roof. Merry Christmas. Bring hither and slay him. Got the Glock out the book of Luke. Keep it stick like Dumbledore. Play dumb, I'ma let it loose. Call my gun harmony. Call my main bitch Betty Boop. He the truth, I'ma need the proof. Got stripes like beef juice. Hit his ass like a Louisville. Hit him low, then I hit him high. Bring him home to the umpire. Give him bars like Wi-Fi. Turn the booth to a bonfire. Little bitch, I'm a live wire. I ride like a car tire. It's on mine when I ride by. Big soldier, nigga. Just give me a reason. Fuck peace, getting even. Won't beef with fear. Take it over, nigga. Let me make it clear. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is. I'm about to start a fire. Whole team full of riders. Every dead on the ride, boy. Ain't gon' be no survivors. Big soldier, nigga. Come on. Don't care where it is. They want the cloud, we want the zone. That's the way it is.
I heard they coming for blood, I'ma be coming for more. Give me the floor, they better come with a mop. I'ma be making it pour. Nigga, I'm raw, fly with the hammer like Thor. Found on my ops in the morgue, tell I'm on four. I'ma be bombing these lanes, understand how and war. I've been the lead, time to get back in the street. Time to get back on my feet, had time to read. Check out, we came from the east, wait till my dogs are released. Heard they was sleep, so we gon' wake them up. Put them up in the sky, the Lord gon' take them up. I take on anybody, think he brave enough. I've been the same and I ain't never changing up. I'm in my zone, hit up my cellular phone. Tell me whatever he on, I take that scouter. He on them perks and that powder, homie ain't really that strong. I'm like a dawn. Better yet, Benny King, I keep a lion head on my pinky ring. I keep a shield. When you see everything, G43, Symphony, let it sing.
You ain't too, you crazy.
I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth, it's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth, it's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. All I know is hustle, hustle,
hustle, hustle, hustle, hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit. Hey, since day one they lied to us and we wasn't shit but slaves. But I found out what I found out, it was right there in my face. The preacher man, he lied. My mama, daddy didn't know, so I'm boxed in by lies. How the fuck I'm ever gonna grow? Hey, when the night falls and the lights out, you be reaching for some help. But when the real shit is bullshit, you be reaching for what's left. None of the lies gonna make it, you can read it for yourself. Here's the truth, you can't fake it, you need to find it for yourself. And nah, and nah, and nah. Oh, oh, oh,
I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth, it's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth, it's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know.
all I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. 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 Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit.
Hey, yeah. Let me turn this volume up a little bit. Everybody can hear me 1 second. Bear with me. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, Shalom, how about Shemi Al-Shabakatah? You hear me, Akash? Kashgar?
Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai Barakatam.
Khan, so you hear me good?
Khan on the one Khan, sir.
Most High in Christ. All right, Salakia. Get on the screen now. Just a moment. All right. Let's get it. Let's clap it up. So let me just move this laptop so I can see what I'm doing. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shah Baraka Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema all the Thun by Shem Shah to all the sisters. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commandant General Yohana. All right, so like just making some quick adjustments to the camera here. Hope everybody can see that 12. It should be good. All right, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. This is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, the Hebrew class, right? Priest and officer of 1,000 Tabawan holding it down. Got my brother, officer of 500 Yanazar with me as per usual. Trooper Akash Carr in the building, holding it down from the Bahamas. Everything good with you, Ak?
Khan and one Khan. Everything's good.
Most High in Christ. All right. So, of course, like I said, this is a Friday night Lashawan Qadash class out here in Durham, North Carolina. The Hebrew class. So we're going to get right into, kind of piggybacking off of what we've been talking about. We've been back on the basics. We've been binging on the basics. We're going back to the beginning. I know you're looking at some of these words and saying, that don't look like basics. Mataz and Apath and Shar and Shara and all of this. But what we've been getting into, we talked about the tools for studying Hebrew, right? And then we were getting into pronunciation. So what you're seeing was just us kind of getting a basic grasp of the mindset, the process that we have, or how we're thinking when we're trying to pronounce these words, okay? And so we're going to continue talking about pronunciation, which will lead us. So for today, I'm actually going to leave this up here. We're not going to go to 2 Corinthians today. Where's my black marker? So we're going to do an alphabet review. Again, always, we're going to stay sharp. We're going to stay sharp. We're going to do Ecclesiasticus. Lock it. We're going to do the prologue to Ecclesiasticus. All right. Okay. And let's also do, what's that one I like, the other one? Let me get my phone. Bear with me. Everybody tuning in. Remember, you could also, that's Heritage, right? But no, that's not the one I want. Joshua 23 and 13, I think might be the one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do Joshua 23. We'll start at verse 12. Joshua 23, we'll do 12 through 13. Hold on one second. Alphabet review. We'll kind of brush over tools for studying Hebrew pronunciation. Genesis 1 and 1. Actually, before we get to Genesis 1 and 1 and greetings, we're going to learn a couple. We're going to use pronunciation. We're going to do colors. We'll do colors and numbers. We'll do real basic. We're going back to kindergarten, y'all. Colors and numbers, right? And then we'll do Genesis 1 and 1 if we have time. We might go through more verses. And then if we still have time, we'll go greetings. This will do these in some combination for today. We might jump to one or skip over one or what have you. But this is basically what's on the ledger for today. Remember that if you have any questions, if you're tuning in, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and just type it into the chat. Giannis, obviously, if you have any questions, you just raise your hand. Akash, same thing. If you have any questions, you say, you just say Salakia, sir, and I'll hear you and I go ahead and address your question. Did you have any questions at this time, Akash Gar?
Laha, sir. I'm good.
Yeah, no sweat. Sister Brittany checking the shalom. Sister Hel Shemal about Shemal Shah. Also, Salakia, too. If anybody does want to join the class, an option as well, but of course it's not a requirement, and it's just there. If that is something somebody wants to ask a question directly or whatever, but nonetheless, no sweat. We're gonna get right into it. All right. So, sis, I remember you had asked about basics, so that's what we've been on for the past 2 weeks. Basics. Okay. So I'm gonna have Officer Yanazar read a couple of things, and we're gonna get the ball rolling on today's lesson. Again, basic. All right, go ahead, Yanazar. Started Ecclesiastes.
Verse 12, right?
No, Ecclesiastes before you, Josh.
Okay.
Prologue to Ecclesiastes is first.
Con.
Let them know where you at.
This is the prologue, but I guess it'd be about the 5th paragraph of the prologue of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. And it reads, "Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them."
Again, we can go break it down, extensively, but we're reading a couple scriptures, so we just keep it basic on this. This is just to show you the importance of understanding Hebrew. Simply put, plain, right? This is the translator. One of the translators actually telling you out of his own mouth. We worked real hard to interpret, these words. But forgive us where we came short of a few words, because the reality is that anything that's uttered in Hebrew and then translated into another tongue or another language, it doesn't have the same force in it. You understand? It's going to lose, what's that phrase? Lost in translation. It's going to lose a little bit of something. That's why we have these classes, a scripture breakdown class. We wouldn't need a scripture breakdown class if everybody understood the language so perfectly and we could just read the scrolls. No, but we need scripture breakdown, brotherhood class, law class, another scripture breakdown class, Lashawan Qadash, Sabbath service. We need these things so we can interpret and understand this Bible. Because what? Because most of us are native English speakers or native Spanish speakers or French speakers or what have you. And this Bible has been translated over and over again from its original tongue, its original language. And so now, we got to put some work in to understand it. And that shouldn't be shocking again when an actual translator, and as we broken down before, the person speaking, right, is not even the person that translated it into English, because this was translated into English when?
English in 1611.
Right. That's when it was published, right? But so over the course of probably 20 years, no, maybe at least 5 years or more, somewhere between 5 and 10 years to complete the translation that was commissioned by King James, right? We know some fake blackety black will tell you that King James wrote the Bible. That's not true. He didn't even translate it. He didn't even have the ability to translate it. He commissioned, right, over 40 Hebrew and Greek scholars to translate the Bible, right? But this brother we're reading about is translating it from what? From Hebrew into Greek at that time, because that's what when King James scholars came to it, it was already in Greek. So he must be talking about what? Translating it into Greek. That's why he says if it's written in Hebrew and then translated to another tongue, it doesn't have the same force. Okay? So that's why that's important. We have to get to the root, to the origin of it to fully understand it. All right? Any more on that, Yonazo?
Have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language.
So the entire Bible, all right? There's no small difference from when it's spoken in its own language, all right? There's major differences. That's why we have to go do what? We have to find out which words are not accurately translated. Who can remember some words that are in the King James Bible that are not accurate? Yeah, Yanazor.
Virgin.
Virgin, right? Virgin is a word. It's accurate, but over time, the meaning of it has been so convoluted that people don't understand what virgin is. Put it like this: in America right now, you can say, hey, that guy's. They had a movie came out, right? 40-year-old virgin came out in 2005. 40-year-old virgin. If you were to say that 2,000 years ago, they would look at you like, "What the hell are you talking about?" That doesn't even make sense because 2,000 years ago, a man couldn't be a virgin. So that's a translation issue. A virgin in the Bible is always a woman. It can't be a man. So right there, that's an issue, right? And then virgin does not always mean a woman who has never had sex. Most of the time it means that, or it's related to it. Okay, because why? It's a young woman of marriageable age. And in our culture, if you have sex with a man, that's your what? Your husband. So if she's a virgin, a young woman of marriageable age, right? 9 times, most likely, she's never been with another man, right? But that's not what makes her a virgin. She's a virgin. Why? Because she's just a young woman of marriageable age, all right? There's literally women who were married at the time in the scriptures who were called virgins because they were still young women, okay? So, Salaki, were we any more on that?
No, that's it on Ecclesiastes.
That's it on that, right? We now jump to Joshua 23 and 12, right? Some more words. There's other words like Easter that don't belong in the scriptures. Neighbor, you got to be careful with that one, right? How they interpret it. Different words. All right. So now we're going to go to the book of Joshua, right? Before we get into today's lesson. All right.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 23, and verse 12. Else, if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations.
This is a warning. This is after we got out of what? We got out of slavery. All right. And we're being told that if you go back and try to get with any of those nations, right? Those heathens, it says the remnant of what?
The remnant of these nations.
If you try to cleave unto them, the Bible says that word cleave very often. When you think of cleave, think of like a child cleaving to their mother, right? It's like the way I got a son, right? My son, you know what I mean? I know my son loved me, but it ain't like when mama come around because he's a baby. So when mama come around, he just latches onto her, literally, figuratively, everything. He just want to be with mommy. Go ahead.
The most natural thing in the world.
Right. Absolutely. I ain't mad. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got what she got. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get it. But that's what it means to cleave unto. Okay. So it's saying if we want to cleave unto these other nations the way we do what right now? Blacks, Latinos, Native Indians, we want to cleave to America. We want to be down with America. We want to fight for America. You understand? We want to cleave to this nation. Go ahead, Yanazor.
Salaki, if I may, sir. To cleave unto these other nations means to serve them. That's what it really means.
Gone, right? That's the gist of it. In your mind, you're thinking you being a good American. In your mind, you're thinking you being righteous. When really, no, you just want to be a slave. That's really what it is. You just want to be a slave. Okay? So it says if you continue to cleave unto these nations, go ahead.
And shall make marriages, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages.
Shall do what?
And shall make marriages.
Right, so you cleave unto them, and then you want to what? You want to get married to them. You want to marry Becky. You want to marry these other heathen nations, which is disgusting. But you want to get Yanazor.
That woman today, man. That was,
Ebony K. Williams. Yeah. Ebony K. Williams. So she started talking about how, I believe in black men and the standards. And yes, I'm not going to accept just anything because I love black men. We pulled up the picture and she had the straight up white. It's her ex-fiance. But it tells you what she really is interested in. Right? Right, exactly. So again, The scripture is absolutely right. We want to cleave unto these other nations, right? And make marriages with them. Go ahead.
And go in unto them.
And you want to go in unto them. You nasty niggas, Salaki. Excuse my French. You nasty brothers out there. You want to go in unto these heathens, man. You want to go in unto these East Indian women. Ugh. And Chinese women and Japanese women and all of this, man. You know what I'm saying? I thought brothers would have figured out by now, like, hey, look, that ain't the way to go. Brothers coming back from Vietnam with all kinds of stuff, dealing with them heathens over there in Vietnam. And now you want to still go deal with these heathens, man? Deal with these oppressors? You see what Tiger Woods wasn't a good example for brothers, man? But I guess not, because we keep wanting to do the same things. But the Bible told us, the Most High told us, if we keep wanting to do this, go ahead.
And they to you, verse 13, know for a certainty.
Know for what?
A certainty.
No, know for a maybe.
A certainty.
Know for perhaps.
A certainty.
The Lord said, know for a certainty. Go ahead.
That the Lord, your power, will no more drive out any of these nations from before you.
Straight up. The Lord is like, you keep, listen, you want to love on them, you want to cleave unto them, you want to go in unto them and let them go in unto you. Know for a certainty that the Lord is not going to drive them out from before you no more. These heathens were not even supposed to be in our presence. They were supposed to be out of the way. The Lord wanted them out of the way so we can do what? So we can have our own, so we can prosper. Now you want to know why black people in America is living the way we live. Hispanics and Native Indians. Why we have absolutely nothing. Because the Lord set up a program for us and we rejected it. Any more on that?
Sir.
Please.
But they shall be snares and traps unto you.
They shall be snares and traps. You wanted to cleave. You wanted them to be your friends. You wanted to make marriages with them. No, I'm not going to drive them out no more. Now they're going to be snares and traps unto you. Now they're going to be what? They're going to destroy you. They're going to destroy you in America. And America is a snare and a trap for blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. Literally a snare and a trap. Brothers in the prison houses, little children, babies in cages. You understand? You see what we talk about on the show? Every day is something new. Look at the brother that just got choked out. We were just talking about it. The brother Jordan, what is his last? Neely. Got choked out on the platform in New York. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, he got choked out on the train, if I'm not mistaken. On the train, on the F train, which was crazy. I used to be on that train all the time. Got choked out on the F train. That right there is a snare and a trap, okay? Because we wouldn't follow the Lord. Any more?
Cut them on con, sir. Verse, let me continue with that. God, the Lord will no more drive out any nation before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your side.
Scourges in your side, man. They're going to destroy you. Any more?
And thorns in your eyes.
Keep going.
Come. Until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given unto thee.
That's it. Until we perish from off the land that the Lord gave us. And that's why 2,000 years later, we got to sit up in here in Durham, North Carolina, and teach people how to speak a language that they don't even know exists, that their ancestors spoke, that our ancestors spoke. You know, but Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh for Commander General Yohana and Isupk for getting us back on track in these trying times. This is exactly where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching this class, you're in these classes, man, again, you should be very, very thankful. You know what I'm saying? The Lord saw fit to put you here. All right. We need each other. All right. Let's get into it for today. All right. Most High in Christ, we still have the Assyrian up here. I'm gonna do the ancient real fast. We'll do a fast alphabet review. Okay. So what we've been talking about over the past few weeks is simply how Hebrew functions. How does it work? How does it work? What are we even looking at? What the heck is this? Right? Hebrew, we understood, is what is called an abjad. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about writing that down if you don't already have it. But you should write it down, just for your records, your notes. But an abjad simply means that Hebrew is a language without written vowels. Every single letter is a consonant. Every one. So on the board, we already have the Assyrian. Again, we explained last week, why is there two different versions of the alphabet? Who can remember the answer to that? Please.
Primarily because during the Assyrian captivity, we assimilated with them, maintaining the pronunciation of the language, but using Syrian, what's the word I'm looking, influenced alphabet.
Absolutely. Perfectly we were still speaking our language with our pronunciation, but through assimilation, utilized the writing system of our captors, our oppressors of the time. Let me get this on the screen for y'all. All right, so I know on the board it might be a little tough to see, but check it out. Again, you can screenshot this if need be. Oh, 1 second. Did I exit out? I'm crazy. What? Hold on 1 second. Oh, no, it's right there. Just got to press the right thing. Window, boom. All right, there we go. All right, so y'all can see that right there. Okay, so you can see, so what you see on the board, I'm gonna turn this camera just a little bit. So you're gonna see me kind of write out the same letters that are on that. All right. So as Officer Yanazar said, the two different writing systems are just because we assimilated into a different culture. They're no different than right now. In America, how many most so-called blacks, and I'll say Latinos too, because again, they speak Spanish, but we know that the Spanish writing, the language system, I mean, think about that, right? Spanish uses a letter system that is, maybe 3 letters off from English, right? You got che. I think che and maybe 2 other letters are different, but every other letter is the exact same, and it's still written using English letters. You understand? These are 2 different quote unquote oppressors. Yet if you write the Spanish alphabet, you would still write what? A, B, C, che, de, and so on. So it's the same thing that happened to us in captivity under the Assyrians. We were still saying Abba, Gada, Hawa, Zaka, right? But we were utilizing their writing system, right? We know that we call that a transliterating. Okay. So ancient Hebrew, of course, came first. This is our original writing system, right? These are not these are not the first symbols we used. Okay, these are not the first symbols that we ever used to denote these letters. This is the form that we stuck with consistently because it was simple. When I say simple, the old form, was a lot more. Again, I cannot draw. I know I'm gonna mess this up. Okay, that's pretty good. This is what an old "ah" would have looked like, something like this. If you can see that, yeah, this is what an old "ah" would have looked like, because the "ah" represents what?
A bull.
Right, a bull. right? Or a cow. So this primitive drawing would be what we would have drawn to represent the ah sound. But this is not practical. You cannot write this imagine, I always say, imagine you got to write a grocery list. Imagine how many times you got to draw this little bull's head right here. It's not practical. You got to take your time. But this right here is more functional, more primitive. I can I can do this all day. You know what I'm saying? I can literally write it the same way we write English today. If I just got to write something fast, I can. So this is why this is the one that stuck. Okay. So remember, in these alphabets, remember, same pronunciation, right? Same letters, but different letter form. That's all. Different letter form. Different, what they call in linguistics, a glyph. Different letter form, but they represent the same sound. This and this is the same. These are equal. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get rid of this, but just to show you. And after ah is what? Ba. This ba is the same as this. Right? This ga, abaga is the same as this. And so on. Right? They're the same, it's the same language. Because I know brothers and sisters have issues with understanding that. Well, how could they be the same but they look different? Because the pronunciation is the same. Okay? It's the exact same. All right? So now let's get into this ancient, right? Before we can get into the fun stuff, colors and so on. So ancient, remember we're not going to get into that today, but all of these are pictographs. All of these represent something, right? So these are the beauty of this language is that literally how you pronounce the letter is how you pronounce it within words. I remember being a kid, and what they always say when it came to spelling, Yanazar, about, okay, if you're having trouble with a word, you're having trouble saying a certain word, sound it out. They said sound it out. Well, okay, how can I sound out something like this? Bear with me. Trying to give a good one. How would I sound out this English word? Can't think of one. I'm trying to think like one of those ridiculous. What's like a ridiculous English word? Like, all right, always a fun one, right? If my teacher says to sound this out, how? How am I supposed to sound that out? That's crazy. I'll be forced to say what? Knife, right? That doesn't make any sense. But there it is, and that's an English word. And there's so many more like this. Knee, knee. Right? Oh, I seen that one. That was funny. If I could remember how it was. How do you say this word? Sound this out, right? What is that word right there?
Yes.
What's this word?
Eyes.
What the hell? How? Why is that not ES? Who the hell knows, right?
Con.
So in English, they tell you to sound it out, but that is a fool's errand because you're going to run into 800,000 words that just won't make sense if you just try to sound it out. The beauty of Hebrew is that you can just sound it out. You can just sound it out. Right? And of course, you're going to get it. I'm not going to say you're going to get into battles. Fake linguists and so-called and so-called Jewish people and certain other blackity black types are going to argue against the Lashawan Qadash, and they're going to throw in vowel sounds that are not there and so on and whatever. They're going to say that this sounds like Flintstones, yabba dabba doo, and all of this. But the reality is this is the oldest language. Doesn't it make sense for it to be a little more primitive than other languages? Doesn't that make sense? In simplistic, if you go back, all the way back, do babies not come out of the womb? I got a son. All he says is ba 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 dot dot dot. So, and you go to any country, think about that. You go to any country in the world, you go anywhere on planet Earth, and that's how babies talk. No matter what ridiculous language their parents may speak, the first thing any baby on Earth says is ba 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 ga 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 ga. This is what it is. Okay, so now, ba, ga. Notice I'm writing from right to left. Hebrew is written from right to left in both ancient and Assyrian. That doesn't change. Ba, ga, da. Ha. Wa, za. Again, that za is a good example to see the connection between ancient Hebrew and English. The za, the z in English literally is lifted from ancient Hebrew. Aba, ga, da, ha, wa, za. Cha, right? Not ka. Cha, it's a softer. Cha. Ta. La, same thing with the la. The L in English is a direct, also like I missed one. Ta is it's ka, ta, ya, my bad. But we'll get to the L in a second. Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha. Ta. My bad. Yeah, ya. Ka. La. Ma. Same thing with the ma. Right? The ma, the modern M comes from the ma. Right? If you see this symbol, I'm just going to write it a larger one right here so you can see it. The ma is written like this. It looks like a W. But if we were to flip it, it would look like what? It would be like a M, and then like this tail that goes up like past here. But that's what it would look like upside down. It's an M. Right? Ma. Same thing with the na. Same thing. Ka, ta, ya, ka. Right? La, ma, na, sa. I. Pa. Tza. Right? Tza. Qua. Ra. Sha. Okay. Again, each one of these symbols is representative of, something. For example, the ma. The word from which we get the ma. Remember I was saying last week, we say ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, to keep it simple and to keep in perspective the usage of these letters. But theoretically, the oppressor, he doesn't do that. When he does Hebrew letters, he uses the words aleph, which is again, that's fake Hebrew, but still he sounds out the word. He doesn't call it the ah, which he can't call it the ah, because in his mind, an ah can make many sounds. Sometimes it's a ah, sometimes it's like an a sound, sometimes it's different, right? But in the way we understand, we know ancient Hebrew was spoken. There's no it's unambiguous. There's no options. An ah is always going to sound like an ah. A ba, ga, da, ha, so on. It can never sound like anything else. A ba cannot become b. It cannot become bo. It cannot become boo or any of that. The ta is always going to be a ta, right? It can become just the actual consonantal sound of the T, as in, right, you could say, I imagine what? Shabbat. That's like, I think the actual word is Shabbat. But say lamawat, right? Lamawat with a ta at the end. You don't say lamawata. That last vowel sound is not there. That ah is not this lamawat, right? But that ta is never going to be anything else. So tawab is always going to be tawab. The fake so-called Jewish man, he says what? Instead of tawab, he says what? What is the so-called Jewish man? What does he say instead of tawab? When we over there in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? Oh, go ahead.
So I guess, sir. He says tov.
Tov. Right? You go over there to Brooklyn, you go to Kings Highway, Eastern Parkway. You go to Eastern Parkway, you're gonna hear a lot of tovs. Molotov and somebody was Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. Molotov is like the bomb, right? Molotov cocktail, right? But yeah, Mazel Tov. That's what they're gonna say. Yeah, something good or a good day, or I don't know, some nonsense that is not real. That's what happens when you deal with the fake. We're trying to tell you, yes, you can sound it out. You can sound it out. I can write any combination of Hebrew letters on the board, and you absolutely, positively, 1000%, never fail, will be able to spell it out. If I give you 3 tries, you'll get it eventually, more than likely. All right? And that's how our language works. So let's run it down. All right? I'll go first, all right? Here we go. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, qua, ra, sha, tha. All right? Y'all, you want to give it a stab?
Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, qua, ra, sha, tha.
Akash Carl, what you got, bro?
Kan. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, cha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, qua, ra, sha, tha.
Come, you gotta fix that car though. Gotta, you know what I'm saying? Gotta fix that one.
Kana one.
No, you no sweat. I believe you kind of said cha a little bit. You know what I mean? So I know that one is tricky. It's tricky because you see it. So I guess when it comes to sounding out, well, no, because remember, what you're actually seeing when we write that way, that's English letters is what's throwing people off. You know, the only reason why we write it that way in English is to distinguish it from the ka. You understand?
God.
But realistically, it doesn't really matter because, you know, you could write that CHA, you know, you could write it anyway, as long as, again, this is just to make it clear, to have a nice system for people, again, who are used to speaking English so they can read it out. Okay. But yeah, when you see that symbol, that ladder, well, actually, it's not a ladder. Who knows what it actually is? It's not a ladder. What is it?
It's a fence, sir.
My brother, damn right. It's a fence, right? So when our ancestors, there was no transliteration into English letters because there was no English letters. There was no English letters even, say, 1,500 years ago. Yeah, English as a language was developed. I mean, again, after like the 800s, you know what I'm saying, before like the year 1000 or somewhere around there, you know. That's where you start to get the English language kind of morphing itself from older Germanic languages. Okay. But yeah, so that's what it is. All right. So we brothers in here know some of these symbols. We're not going to go too much into it again because we want to stay basic for today. So who can tell me which symbol represents a door?
Lucky, sir.
Go ahead, Akash.
The da.
Da, correct. What symbol represents a walking stick?
The la, sir?
That's correct. La. La was the word, I believe, is lamad, which means to learn. But the symbol is representative of grandpa's walking stick going upside your head because you can't figure it out. Because he done told you, just go watch an old karate flick. Go watch a old, you know what I'm saying, kung fu flick, and you'll see some old grandmaster with a stick hitting some cat upside the head. Like, that's not right. Do it again. Right? That's what that is, you know, reminiscent of to represent. Which symbol represents a mark?
The ta, sir.
You sure?
A mark?
You know,
not X mark the spot?
It's the tha. I think he meant the tha, but he said ta.
Right, it's the tha. Slaki. Slaki, bear with me just a moment.
Oh. Khan,
Okay. What else we got? What else do we have? You see the Assyrian. So again, so we're not going to spend too much time on the alphabet, but we got to, again, if you're looking at your screen, I'm gonna actually make this large for everybody to see. Okay, I'm gonna make this this large for everybody to see. So as you can see, the correspondence between the ancient and the Assyrian. Same letters, same pronunciation. All right. The only difference, obviously, they're different symbols. Okay. Obviously, the different symbols. But the major difference between the two is those 5 letters you see at the bottom there, where it says use these letters. Oh, I think use these. Right. I can't quite see it. It's just kind of small on my screen. Salakia. Use these letters if letters above fall at end of word, right? So you're going to use those if that letter is at the end of a word, right? We talked about that last week as well. That's probably the major difference between the two. And someone might ask the question, well, why do we have to learn both? Why? I mean, we know that the ancient Hebrew was how our ancestors wrote it down. So why we got to bother with why are we even going to learn some crap that we learned in captivity? Why can't we just ignore that? Why can't we just, leave that alone? Yanazar.
Yes. The reason why we have to learn the ancient is primarily because most written forms of the language is written in the Assyrian. And the reason why we have to learn the Assyrian is because most modern written form of the language is written in that particular alphabet. And so like 95 to 99% of the time when you see Hebrew, you're going to see it in the Assyrian form.
Absolutely. That's the answer. Basically 99.9% of the time. The only time you're not going to see it written in that form is when you're either in an Isupk class or if you go to a freaking museum and you see some kind of ancient artifact. Again, I bring them up all the time, the Mesha Stele, or the Moabite stone, or so, you'll see these symbols or different artifacts, from the time of Moses and things like that. Then you'll see the ancient. Other than that, all you're going to see is the Assyrian. So again, if you pick up a Tanakh, it's going to be written in Assyrian. And so when you come to the Sabbath service and you got to read out of a Tanakh, guess what you'll be reading? You'll be reading the Assyrian. And so that's why it's essential for us to learn both. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? No sweat.
Salaki, sir.
Okay, Akash.
Yeah, that's a question. So we're learning the ancient because eventually we want to go back to the ancient.
Say it one more time.
So the reason why we're learning the ancient, I understand we're learning the Assyrian because that's where most of the writing is being done. So the reason we're learning the ancient is because we're going to go back to using the ancient.
Well, you could say it that way. That's not incorrect. Ultimately, the ancient would be our form of Hebrew. So we're learning the ancient because that's what our ancestors wrote in. That was ours. That wasn't something we got from captivity. You know what I'm saying? That's our thing. So it would be kind of it would be almost impractical to just learn the version that we got from captivity and not actually learn the original. You know what I'm saying? We got to learn the original. Going back to what the brother said in the scripture, you know what I mean? There's no small difference. Now I know it's still Hebrew, but within our ancient Hebrew letters, there are aspects of our culture. You understand what I'm saying? If you look into any culture, you can see remnants. You can understand parts of their culture better by just understanding their alphabet, by just understanding how they spoke, right? So again, so when you look at the fact that the ah comes from a bull, right? When you look at the fact that the ba is a tent, because our people did what? Dwelled in tents. The da also, even though it's a door, but it's the doorway of a what? Of a tent, because we dwelled in tents. You know what I'm saying? So again, so those features of our culture are so ingrained into our ancient Hebrew. So it's essential that we learn it. Not to mention that we also use it. We use it more, probably in the Syrian. When I say use it more, I mean when we if a brother makes a garment, you know what I'm saying? Brothers make garments that have Hebrew writing on them. Brothers make pieces of clothing that have Hebrew writing on them. You have never, at least I don't think I've seen a brother who would put the Assyrian on a piece of clothing, because again, that's borrowed from our captors. But many brothers are gonna make headpieces, war scarves, shirts. Shoot, I'm wearing one right now. Shout out to Officer Kowal. I need Giannis, I need you to tell me, is there I'm almost sure there is. Is there like Hebrew writing on the back of this shirt? I can't remember. You don't see like no Hebrew writing? This is 140,000, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please. Yeah.
If I may, to my brother Kashkar, Shalom, my brother. Hey, Yahweh Shema Shabbarakta. Like in the book of Zephyr, first of all, the Lashawan Qadash is the tongue of the angels. And is so if we gonna communicate with angels, it has to be what I'm trying to say is that if we have to get a new language, then the angels got to get a new language too. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're the communicators between us and the Most High. You understand? And in the book of Zephaniah 3, chapter 3, verse 9, it reads, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord." And in that particular scriptures, if I may, sir, is like it's return, because you already had the pure language. You understand? That's why none of these other nations could use it. You understand? That's why they came up with Tov and all these other words, because they cannot use this language. The pure language. You understand? Like what we as Hebrews must understand as Israelites is that the Most High gave us all the good from the gate, man. Like when we was reading Salak, if I may, Joshua, just read verse 14, man, if I may, sir. Come on, sir. It says, this is the book of Joshua, chapter 23 and verse 14. "And behold, this day I'm going the way of all the earth. And ye know in all your hearts and in all your souls that no one thing hath failed of all the good things which with the Lord your God spake concerning you." And how did he speak to you? He spoke through you primarily through the angels, through the prophets. Lashawan Qadash, man.
That's what it is. That's ours. So if I could just show you, might be hard to see, but I'm gonna just pick up the camera. So if you see that IGBK song right there, at the bottom, you see that? You see what that's written in? Ancient Hebrew. What does it say?
Zaha. Wow.
Close.
Sha. I.
The first letter is a ya.
Oh yeah. Let me see that. Oh yeah. Yahweh.
Yup.
Yahweh. Yahweh. Nah.
Yeah. Nah, that's Yahweh.
Yahweh Shah. I.
Put it together.
Yahweh Shai.
There we go. That's it. Right. So we use the ancient because we want to get. Remember, what's the whole point of this? What's the whole point of this? Somebody give me a precept. If you give me a precept, I'll be impressed. What's the point of this class? What's the point of scripture breakdown? What's the point of brotherhood class, law class?
To come back to who we are.
Right. You're absolutely right. 1,000% right. You said a certain word in there. Now bring me a precept that lets you know that's what we're supposed to do. It's one of my favorite scriptures. Read that, Baba Show.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old path.
Ask for the what?
Old path.
The new path.
Old path.
The path we've never seen before.
The new old path.
He said, ask for the old path. And this is my favorite part. Go ahead.
Khan. Where is the good way?
Where is the good way? You understand? You're supposed to ask for the old paths. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're supposed to want to see. We're not supposed to be trying to do nothing new. Not saying again, don't take it too literal, right? But in everything in the ISUPK, we're doing what? We're seeking the old paths. We're seeking the old ways. We're not trying to be what they say progressive.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be progressive. We're trying to go back. And that's so heavy to think about it, because if we go back, guess what we just might stumble upon? We might just stumble upon that Garden of Eden. Right. If we go back, that's what we might stumble upon. We might stumble upon Jerusalem. We might stumble upon that land that the Most High just said that all them heathens were supposed to be driven out from before us. But the more we try to be progressive and we try to do our own thing, the more we fail. Right? And I'm bringing this out just to say again, this is the part where it says, seek ye the old paths, or ask for the old paths. So again, so us learning ancient Hebrew is a part of that. It's a part of us trying to get back to what we were. You understand what I'm saying? Trying to get back. So we can go back to Assyrian, that's cool, but no, we're gonna go all the way back to the lineage of our ancestors. You know what I mean? And that's what every single ISBK class is about. Is about us trying to return to the old paths. All right.
So like it
please,
says, what you just said is heavy as hell, because today in the show, you understand, chain breakers, when y'all was talking about, that brother that was, he's kind of feminine with the sister that, that went out on him. And when y'all started talking about that masculinity, that's the old ways.
Old ways. Damn right. That's right. Masculinity.
I was loving that shit, yo.
Masculinity is 12. Masculinity is the old way, the old path. You know what I mean? Yeah, being effeminate and saying babe, you know, not saying you can't call your woman babe. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying you got to see the video. If y'all didn't catch Chainbreakers podcast earlier today, go back and watch it. Go get the water. Go back and watch today's episode. We talked about a brother. A brother went on Twitter, and I don't know why this brother even did this. He could like my brothers, he could have kept it to himself. But he went on Twitter and released a video where he, talked about how he married this woman and she wouldn't listen to him, and she started hanging out with her single friends and other men. And and he said something bad's gonna happen, or I guess ultimately, according to him, she got raped and all this real nasty situation. Real nasty situation. I know. Real nasty situation. Right? But this cat was so effeminate, it was just like, damn, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It was real rough to watch. It was real rough to watch. And he was saying that when it all went down, he had told her he wasn't feeling well, babe. Let's just watch a movie and eat some ice cream. Again, am I saying it is unlawful to eat ice cream and watch a movie with your woman? No. But if you go watch this video and go watch this clip, again, go to Chainbreakers podcast, you will see it. I played the whole video. It was like I said, it was like some out of a rom-com, some kind of romance comedy, you know what I'm saying, with Julia Roberts in it or something like that. It wasn't masculine at all. It was very, very effeminate how this brother was acting about the situation. And so that's what Officer Yanazar is saying. That's the old paths, right? Everything we do in here is the old path. You see it even the stuff we wear, the war scarves, you know what I'm saying, the tans, you know what I mean, headpieces and fringes, and it's all the old paths that we're trying to get back to. Okay, so the Salakia Akash, does that answer your question of why we have to study both?
Can and one can, so I watched the Chainbreaker too. I agree.
I did see Mozart, give him a hand. I did see him on the Chainbreaker pod. I seen you on there. I seen you on this. I know I did a roll call. Did I miss your name? If I missed your name, Salakia, brother. I know I seen your name at some point on the show. I might have missed you when I did the final roll call. Salakia, it will not happen again. I'll make sure to shout you out next time. I appreciate you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? To grow. You know what I mean? But we appreciate that for sure. But yeah, so we're seeking out the old paths. That's why we do what we do. All right. So let's continue. We did the alphabet. We talked about tools for studying Hebrew. I'm not going to go expound on it today, but you want to use your blue letter, which we will use today. You want to use your blueletterbible.org, right? If you have an actual Strong's Concordance, that is a very good tool as well. And then also you can get a lexicon. We didn't really talk about that much, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on that because we actually don't have one here at this school. We have one at the Fayetteville school. But you can buy a Brown, I think it's Briggs. It's like 3 names, like Brown Diver Briggs. I think it's the 3 names. Hebrew lexicon. You can get one of those as well. It's an excellent tool for studying the Hebrew. All right. So now moving right along, we're still talking about pronunciation, and I said something about how with this language, the sister wanted us to get back to the basics. I'm so glad she said that because it's so true. The beauty is that you just gotta put the pieces to the puzzle together. You don't have to worry about anything like knife, knees. You don't have to worry about anything like eyes and yes. None of that. You don't have to worry about none of that. Psychosis. Psychosis begins with a P. Psychology begins with a P. So why is it not psychology? Pause. Or psychosis? Pause. Why is it not that? Why is the P there? What's it for? Would it hurt anybody if the P wasn't there? Would it make it less sense somehow? In English, it would. Right? But you don't have to worry about that in Hebrew. don't got to worry about it. What do I mean? What do I mean when I say that? Right? Meaning this. If I write can everybody see that? What I just wrote right here? Who can pronounce that word? Yanazar.
Garazol. I mean, Barazol.
Very good.
Barazol.
Very good, but not quite.
Barzol.
Say again?
Barzol.
What I tell you? He didn't even need 3 chances. It's 2. Yeah. That's correct. Barzol is how you pronounce that word. Who knows what it means? Everybody knows what Katham Gabar means, right? General Katham Gabar has that name. Everybody knows what Golden Warrior. This name is similar. There's a brother whose name is Barzal Rakah. Who knows what Rakah means? Rakah means spirit. For time's sake, I'll give it to you. Barzal means iron.
Iron spirit.
Iron spirit. Dang, right?
Beautiful. Dang. Just Barzal?
Barzal means iron.
Okay.
Rakah means spirit. So Barzal Rakah means iron spirit. Brother's got some hardcore names. Brother told me the other day his name means to dash into pieces. You know what I mean? Captain Night Doc name means to sever, as in to cut things tremendously. Sever. Right?
The brother in Jamaica, his name is the Destroyer, yo. I said,
damn.
What's his name? The captain in Jamaica.
Abada one.
Yeah. His name means Destroyer, yo. He's not a captain?
No. If it's a captain, you might be talking about Trinidad.
No, he's in Jamaica because I've met him like twice already.
So probably is Abadawan.
Abadawan, that's his name.
Okay, he's not a captain, but he's still.
Yeah, he's over Jamaica. Oh, Salakia. But that brother's name is the Destroyer, yo.
Brother's got some names, man. And then one brother gets a name like Understanding. Even Akash Carr's name is crazy. Akash Carr's name is ill. Brother of Dawn. That's that. I like that. Brother of Dawn. What's your name, Enoch? Understanding.
It's all good. Yeah. Early up.
it's it's raw. It's like raw ka. It's a ra. So in ancient it would be a ra, a wa, a ka. No, I think it's just these three. I think it's just like that. It's 3 letters. We have to fix out. We have a prayer where we use this word, but ours is kind of old. And there's a typo where it says ra waka. No, but it's ra ka waka. But that's the beauty. All you need is the letters, and you can sound it out. When we say the alphabet and we go all the way through, and we say ba ga da ha wa za ka ta ya ka la ma na sa I pa za kwa ra sha tha, every single word you will ever hear in Hebrew is based off that alone. Period. You're never going to hear some sound or some combination of sounds that is going to deviate from this. The only thing that you will hear is that, or that will allow you to kind of make variations in the words, is that sometimes you're going to eliminate the vowel sound, right? Sometimes you're going to use connectors and ba will just be the B, or ga will just be the G, right? In certain words, right? Usually where does this usually happen? Not always, but where does this often happen? Where the last two, I just said it. Last 2 letters are Salakia. Often the last 2 letters are connected, right? But not always. You can see in Barzal, right? If you, again, as we said, what's the worst thing that a brother can say if he reads those 4 letters? The worst, absolute worst thing, if you ever do anything crazier than this, I'm going to be mad at y'all. Because all you got to do is say what? Bara Zala. And you'll be wrong. You'll be very wrong. But that's the worst you can do. Just say that. Just pronounce them. Ba ra za la. Just do that first. If you want to be a little bit more confident with yourself, what's the next thing you do to not do that? The next thing you do is you say what? Ba. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thinking is that most of the time the last 2 letters are connected.
Exactly. That's how you level up on that. So now you real new. All you know is how to pronounce letters. So you say ba ra za la, and someone might have to correct you. To level up, you say ba ra zol. And you have to listen out, like we were saying last week. You have to listen to that Hebrew. Watch them just randomly go on. If you're busy, watch somebody's Sabbath service. Watch the Durham Sabbath service. Watch Fayetteville Sabbath service. Watch the headquarters Sabbath service. Watch Cali's. Watch somebody's Sabbath service, and just get familiar with those sounds. So when you hear something like, okay, that sounds right. There's a word that I've heard before that has that. Okay. Because see, this word, the last 2 letters do not connect. This word is not rawach. It's ra-cha. Ra-cha. Okay? And this happens sometimes. This where the last 2 letters connect is probably, again, from my experience, probably about 70% of the time, somewhere around there. But you absolutely can have words where that doesn't happen. But you'll guess what? You know what will happen? You'll be able to identify when it's less likely for that to be the case. Now, if you were to say rawach, that sounds like Hebrew to me. That sounds like Hebrew. So that wouldn't be crazy to say rawach. Okay? But what will happen is that's why it's important to do what? What did we say before? What is it important to do? Sound it out, true. But it's important to try to get a glimpse of that English first. When you're reading in the Sabbath service, if you can, or before you're going to be in the Sabbath service, try to read the English. Why? Because then you'll know what words you're going to be facing. I just told you that the Hebrew word for spirit is what? Rakah. Rakah is the Hebrew word for spirit. Now, with that being said, if you are in the Sabbath service and you remember, you read it last night in English and hopefully Hebrew too. But let's just say you're only able to get a quick glimpse of the English. You're able to get while the teacher is breaking down the last 7 verses, right? You over here taking a glimpse of the next 7 in the English and in the Hebrew. And you see that word spirit. Okay, this says and the spirit of the da. Then you go to that same verse in the Hebrew and you see this 3-letter combination. Of course, you're not going to see it in ancient. So what are you going to see? You're going to see it in Assyrian. You're going to see a what? A Ra. You're going to see a Ra, a Wa, and a Cha. Please. Sure. Mm-hmm. Right. Just say raw, like you're saying, like ODB. Oh, baby, I like it raw. is raw word, right? Raw is raw. Raka. Okay. But yeah, you're gonna see that in the Assyrian. And now every time it's like it should be like a trigger. And that's a tough thing to do early on. I still deal with it. You may see a combination of letters and you sound it out. You know what I'm talking about, Yanazar. And it takes you kind of a minute to be like, oh, that's right. Like when you see Yahawashai, you be like, Yahawashai. Yahawashai. And then the teacher be like, Yahawashai. And you be like, Yahawashai. Right. You know what I mean? But you got to train yourself. And you'll get it. Okay? Most High in Christ. So that's with pronunciation. Let's do some colors to help us with pronunciation. New words. Let's do some colors. So I'm going to go ahead and erase the ancient, only because, again, the Assyrian is what we're going to see more often than not. But I might be nice today and just deal with the ancient, just so we can kind of practice. Yeah, I'm going to erase this Assyrian right here. I'm going to leave the ancient. We'll work with both on this side. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my joint. All right. So first things first, we're going to start off with my personal favorite color. I'm going to actually tell you I am going to tell you how to say the word black in Hebrew. And I want somebody, without me writing it down, to attempt to spell the word that I'm saying. This is going back to, we're doing this whole for what? Pronunciation. So if I pronounce it right, we should, because remember, unless I'm selling wolf tickets, I said that in Hebrew, you just sound it out. So I'm going to tell you this word. Let's see if we can get it. All right. The Hebrew word is the Hebrew word for black is shachar. Shachar. The Hebrew word for black, the color black, is shachar. Okay, Yanazar, most likely since you're here, Yanazar, you can go ahead and just write it on the board and give it a go. Both. Give him a hand. Excellent, because again, this brother now, Yanazar, did you know before I just said that word how to say the word black in Hebrew? Now look, now watch. When I show you on blue letter the word black, see, look. This is the word. It says to be black, right? Translated as black. Hope y'all can see that. Salakia. My bad. There we go. And we scroll up, and what have we here? We have exactly what this brother wrote in the Assyrian, which is then also true in the ancient. A Shah, a Cha, and a Ra. I imagine, Yanazar, that when I said Shachar, you simply said, well, okay, I heard Shah. So there has to be a what? A Shah. I heard Cha. So there has to be a what? A Cha. Then I heard Kar. I heard that consonant, that Ra sound. So it has to be a what? Ra. Simple. That's it. That's it. Let's try another one. Let's try another one. What about white? Not quite. Remember, Edomites are red. Who knows the Hebrew word for white? Please.
I went and I looked it up. I went to Genesis. What is it? Genesis 30 and 35, and I found the word white. And when I went to H, it was H 3836. H 3836. And it was the word is Laban.
That is correct. Now I want somebody else. So the word is Laban. How would we write that in Hebrew?
Lucky, sir.
Please.
Allah, Ba, and Na.
Give him a hand.
Let me give myself a hand. Can.
Simple, right? So now all we got to do is transfer what he just said into the proper letters. So Allah, Abba. And remember, at the end of a word in Assyrian, we have to use this symbol for the Na.
Can.
Laban. And then the same thing in ancient. La. Ba. No. And we can use our connectors here. La. Bun. I mean, can't beat it with a stick. Beautiful, right? Let's do maybe 2 more colors and then we'll get a couple numbers. We're not going to be able to do as many as we'd like. We're going to have to dedicate, maybe next week a whole section to numbers or colors. Right now, we're kind of overlapping things. We're still getting on this concept of pronunciation. Let's learning the mechanism of Hebrew. All right? What's up?
Modern Hebrew, man, it sounds so gay, yo. It ain't funny, yo. Salakia.
Oh, you don't like Mazel Tov?
Jack off, yo.
Yeah. I remember his face, clear and plain, to this day. He's an ugly. He's like, everybody knows I grew up in like a Jewish neighborhood in Queens, right? So it's like a bunch of like a lot of like Russian Jews and like, a bunch of Russians and Albanians and all them types. And this cat's name, it was supposed to be, it's basically Jacob. But remember, so how do you, just a quick sidebar. Who knows how Jacob's actual name in ancient is said? Yaquab, right? And it's spelled, let me get it right. It's a Ya, I think a I, a Qua, and a Ba, I believe. It's like Yaquab. But remember that to the oppressor, the so-called Jewish man, the Ba is really pronounced as a what? A Va. Mm-hmm. So this is still like yeah. They say yeah. They don't say yeah. They say yeah. All right. So let me do it backwards. Pause. So where to us is what? Yaquab. Right? and not the big head scientists, like the blackity black say. What they say, Yanazar? Yakub, right? The big head scientists that that created white people in a lab. God, that is crazy. We gotta talk about that one day, right? So Yikewob, but to them, let me get it right. Hold up. See, they changed it here because they don't want to sound crazy. They have it to them. It's still like a yeah, like they say yeah, right? But then the qua to them is like a Q. Not a Q, excuse me, a K. They treat it like a ka. And then the ka and the ba together is what they come up with. And that's why this cat that I went to high school with, his name was Yakov. His name was Yakov. This is garbage and not right, of course. But when I tell people that, they think I'm bugging. No, I went to school with a kid, I think it was more than one, named Yakov. Okay. But yeah, the actual name is Yikewob, which sounds way more masculine. Okay. So check it out. We'll get one more color. And we'll try, so we'll do 3 colors and maybe 3 numbers if we I think we have time for that. So the next color. How about this color? Maybe y'all might know this one. I know how to say red in Hebrew. What you got, Yanazor? Close. Say his name. Edom. Right. Now say Edom in ancient Hebrew. Adawam. Remember, the same thing. To the oppressor, that's how he gets his O's. He gets his O's from what? Why? So, I don't want to do it because I'll be giving it to you. We'll do it in a second. So, how do you say Adawam? Somebody tell me how to spell So the pronunciation of this word is Adawam. 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 How do we spell Adawam? That would be Adawam. Exactly. Right? Da. Wa. Ma. Da. Wa. Ma. Adawam. In an ancient. Da. Wa. And a ma. Da. Wam. Right? Simple. And remember, so to the oppressor, to get dome, pause, dome, they do what? They da. When they see this, when an oppressor sees this, when they see a da, a wa, and a ma together, this to them is dome because this wa becomes an o. Dome. And this ah to them is E. E. That's why, and you can damn near teach yourself fake Hebrew by understanding real Hebrew and just how they choose to mess it up. So we know that in ancient Hebrew to say the powers, right, or the Most High and his legion of angels, we say what? Allahayim. Allahayim. But what does the oppressor say? What is the oppressor's version of the word Allahayim? This is not, it means powers. They use it as his name. There you go. Elohim. Because it's the same way they get the E in Edom. The ah to them is an E. Right? So if it's Adawam, they say Edom. If it's Allahayim, they say what? Elohim. That's where that comes from. All right? I'm trying to think of another word. Lucky. And then they have other ones that turn to E, like, like Eber. But Eber really is Ibar. But yeah, they do what they do. No sweat. All right. We'll do the last three quick. Who knows how to say one in Hebrew? And this is why pronunciation is so important. Let's see here. Go ahead, Yanazor. Okay. To say the number one, Officer Yanazar says it's akkad. Who wants to take a stab at how to pronounce that? And the Assyrian. Most High in Christ. Now, see, the brother is correct, but that's why pronunciation is important. See, he knows, right? He knows. But he said what? A cod, which could do what? It could throw somebody off. They could end up writing what? An a ka, and a da. Right? Now, again, I'm not telling you to go ahead and start saying Captain Achad. Don't do that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm simply saying that pronunciation is important. It technically is not. It is not Akkad. It's Achad. Achad. Right? That's how you say one in Hebrew. Achad. Number 2. The Hebrew word for 2 is shunya. Shunya.
Salaki, sir.
Please.
Can you say that again? Shanya?
Khan, that's correct. Shunya. Shunya.
A sha, a wa, and a na.
Sounds right, but I think you might have something a little bit backwards. But those sound like the right 3 letters. Shanya. Shanya.
Shan. A sha. Shan. Yeah. A sha, a wa, and a na. Shan. Shanya.
Shunya.
Shanya. Shanya. A sha, a wa, and a ra.
Shunya. Shunya.
Shan. So that's a sha and a ya.
Is that how? Okay, let's start with shun, right? Let's start with the first part. How would we say shun?
A sha and a na.
Right, a sha and a na. Now, how would we say shunya?
A sha, a na, and a wa.
And a what?
Yeah. And a wa.
Not shunwa, shunya.
Shan ya.
Shunya.
A sha, a wa, a sha, a na, and a wa.
Take your time, brother. You got it. A sha, a na, and a what? Just say that syllable you're saying.
A wa.
Say the syllable that is at the end of that word.
A shan ya.
Say that again.
Shan ya.
Now say that syllable you just said again.
Shan ya.
Say that last part you said. Just say it.
So a sha, a na, and a.
So look. So here we go, right? So you got the sha.
Sha. I got the na.
Right? You got the sha.
And na.
You got the na. This is shun. But the word is what? What is the word?
Shan ya.
So say that again.
So shan ya.
Give him a hand. Sha, na, ya.
Kan.
Sha, na, and ya. Shun ya. And then we go to the ancient. Shun ya. We connect the sha and the na. Shun ya. Shun ya.
Shan ya.
All right. Last but not least, what's this? The last word that we have to spell is the word for three. The Hebrew word for three is shalash. Shalash.
Shalash.
If I may. See, three, right? Shalash.
That's correct. I'm trying to figure out how to spell it. If you could just like kind of trace over that shah on that too, just make it darker. Just that one part. There you go. The water. That's perfect. Connectors.
Okay.
Each one of these words, we didn't write the words down first. We just said them out loud. No different than how we do in English, right? Only because we have familiarity with the language, right? And even some words in English, that's why in English you have what? Spelling bees. You know, a spelling bee in Hebrew would be something that only would be beneficial for kids. Little children can be in a spelling bee, but some grown adult would not be in a spelling bee because it would be too easy. But in English, you got all kind of words, hippopotamus and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Onomatopoeia that even most likely a grown-up does not know how to spell. You know what I'm saying? Not in our language. Right? Shakar. Just a shah, ka, and a ra. Laban. Allah, ba, and na. Adawam. A, da, a, wa, and a ma. Akkad. A, ka, and a da. Shanya. A sha, a na, and a ya. And shalash. A shah, Allah, and a shah again. Perfect. All right. But we're about at the time, a little bit past the time. You understand? So we're gonna go ahead and end it there. If there's any questions, you know, Akash, you got any questions, or Yanazar, y'all got any questions?
Yeah, sir. The water for your class.
No, the water to you, brother. You know what I'm saying, for being, you know, diligent and consistent. Appreciate you. You make the class that much better. Really appreciate you. So next week we're gonna again expound on this, continue from this, get more into pronunciation. Then we'll get into actually learning some of our cultural phrases, our greetings, and things like that. Okay. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in with us. We're gonna go ahead and clip it there. You know what I'm saying? So again, so tune in next week, same time, same place. Keep studying. If anybody has any questions, of course, you know what I mean, just you can go ahead and just come on into the class and we'll go ahead and square those questions away for you. But if nothing else, with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Priest and Officer of 500 Yanazar.
Yes, sir.
Security announcements. We are the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Command and Junior Hanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or the sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. We're in the Feast of First Fruits. I think, what is it?
Yeah, it started on after the Sabbath service, after the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is Sunday, April 9th. Count 50 days, and we're going to celebrate on the 50th day, which is Monday, May 29th.
Monday, May 29th is the culmination of the Feast of First Fruits, okay, which is the next Holy Convocation, okay? Remind Aki and Nakwatin to check on social media such as isubk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUBK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, then he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, I imagine